Number 2, it targeted the wrong audience. This one is probably the most subjective, but it makes sense if you really think about it. Although the franchise's target audience were children, Digimon actually got into some pretty heavy subject matter for a kids show. For one, the show featured many Digimon dying throughout each iteration, such as Chumon, Waymon, and of course Leomon from the original Adventures, or Wormmon and Black War Greymon in Adventures 2. And don't even get me started on Tamers. 13 episodes in, and we get a lovely segment about the length Yamaki would go to stop Digimon from materializing in the real world. Watching as hundreds of Digimon are forcefully deleted by the Juggernaut Shaggy, or Shagia program that he enacted. And that's just the beginning. Tamers is notorious for being the darkest season of the show, and for good reasons. Not only did a lot of Digimon die this season, but it also introduced us to the Edwich abomination, and that is the D Reaper. I wouldn't be surprised if that thing gave children nightmares. We also have to take into account what the D Reaper did to Jerry. The D Reaper forces her to relive her mother's death, continues to remind her about Leomon's fate, and overall takes advantage of her depressive state and feeds upon her grief, almost to the point where Jerry almost tried to commit suicide. Literally everything that happens to Jerry after the death of her partner is not only sad, but incredibly dark. However, not only did Digimon deal with darker subject matter, it also delved into topics that may have been considered controversial for the time. Going back to Adventure, we learned that some members of the Digidestins had troubled pasts. First, there's Izzy, the nerdy guy of the group that everyone liked. We learned that the lesson Izzy invests so much into computers is because at a young age, he found out that he was adopted. In order to hide his feelings and not hurt other people, he began to spend much of his time with computers and technology in general, as a way to cope. Then there's Matt and TK. We learn that their parents are divorced, with Matt living with their father and TK living with their mother. Before their adventures in the digital world, they only got to see each other on the weekends. Toward the end of the first season, we start to see the effects this has on Matt. After he is finally willing to open up to others, how many kids shows do you know of that touches upon either of these topics? Yeah. The only one I can really think of is Digimon. Although the English version tried to tone it down a bit, there were still a lot of things that managed to stay uncensored. In Digimon Tamer's case, you sometimes had to stop and ask yourself, does this even count as a kid's show? Even though I love the fact that Digimon essentially treats its younger audience like adults due to showing more difficult subject matter, I wouldn't be surprised if some parents disapproved of their kids watching it due to the violence. With all of the above, it just begs the question, why did Bandai Namco target a younger audience in the first place? Was it really to capitalize on the popularity of Pokemon the whole time? In fact, not too long ago, there was an interview in Famitsu magazine with some of the producers of Digimon story Cyber Sleuth. And they mentioned that with Cyber Sleuth, they were aiming towards an older audience because Digimon wasn't selling with Japanese kids anymore. With kids today copying their time with Pokemon and Yokai Watch, they sadly won't pay much attention to Digimon. As such, having Digimon aim at a crowd that the other two can't touch is a smart move. With the release of Digimon Adventure Tri, Cyber Sleuth, and Next Order, Digimon has started to once again gain attention worldwide. Going forward, it seems like the audience shifted exact what the franchise needed. Hopefully, Bandai Namco can keep the momentum going and put Digimon back on the map.